Why are you still living and torturing me? Anton pulled the flexible tube of the floor. A young nurse entered the room, and Anton quickly got up from his chair, abandoning the audacious idea, as if he had been caught in the act. Where is the new doctor? In the 5th ward, the nurse replied. How is she? The man asked the nurse. It was bad last night, but they pumped it out. Don't worry, we have excellent doctors. Anton nervously clenched his fists. You said there was little hope, and my wife has been in your hospital for 4 months now. The man literally ran into the doctor coming out of the next room. I'm sorry, what did you say? The doctor was surprised by the unexpected question. I'm Sotnikova's husband, Anton added quickly. Oh, you're Pauline's husband. We are doing our best. She has a young body. What are the forecasts? My husband was nervous. I can't promise you anything, the doctor replied. We do not plan to disconnect her from the device and bring her out of the coma yet. You're just pulling money out of me, and it doesn't matter to you that she's already a vegetable. Anton did not calm down in any way. You are wrong. The dynamics are good after the last operation. The doctor wanted to find the patient's chart and show the results of the research. He stopped at the post and began sorting through the cards, but Anton just turned around and walked away. That he didn't go to the office anymore, he went straight home. At the turn, he suddenly realized that he had run a red light, cursed and accelerated. For months ago, he was also angry, then at his wife, drove a car and also ran a red light. A strong blow from Kamaz landed right in the place where Paulina was sitting. They were married for a little over a year. Such a lovely couple, such lovers. It seemed that everything was fine, the young people did not need anything. My wife left a business after her parents, which she continued to run herself at the age of 28. My husband was 2 years older, from a simple working-class family, but with great ambitions. He was able to convince, worked in a good trading company as a manager. Paulina and Anton met at one of the exhibitions, met and began an affair. At the beginning of the relationship, Anton was satisfied with everything. He quietly spent his wife's money if necessary. I immediately took an expensive car for myself. But soon that wasn't enough for him. Anton first hinted, then asked, and a year after the wedding he began to demand that the management of the company's affairs be transferred to him. Why? Paulina was surprised that we have everything. Apartment, country house, car, money. Why do you need an official document? We already have everything in common. It's all yours. You don't understand, the husband began to get nervous. This is yours, and I'm like a prefix to all this. I also work on a par with you, even more. I'm the man in the family. The crisis of the first year of family life was gaining momentum. The young people quarreled more and more often and threw reproaches at each other. I don't understand, my love. Paper won't change anything. We have been husband and wife, and we will remain so. What's all this about? How do I explain it to clients later? They're used to trusting me and our last name. Do you want to change the company name too? Paulina began to get angry. I don't want to change anything. I want you to appreciate and respect me, and you're just using me. You have a power of attorney, you can sign all the documents. Isn't that trust? Shouted Paulina. But Anton just stepped on the gas. Anton was guilty of that accident, although he did not want to admit it. They didn't really find any witnesses. There was no video recording in Kamaz, and the accident site was unsuccessfully hidden from cameras located on neighboring houses. Anton prudently erased the video from the registrar in his car. A week later, Anton returned to the hospital, but even this time he was not satisfied with his wife's condition. The nurse tried to start a conversation. You're talking to her. She can hear you. Let it be so, unconsciously. Do you know how many cases patients have woken up to the fact that their relatives? Anton abruptly interrupted the nurse. The girl was offended and left the room. Anton squeezed Paulina's hand tightly, so that her knuckles turned white. Her head, shaved after the last operation, was already overgrown with the hair that he used to like so much, but it didn't matter now. Right now, Anton only wanted Paulina to be gone. Then everything that belonged to her would have passed to him by right. Over the past 4 months, he had already gotten used to this idea and did not allow any other outcome. Anton was already living as if Paulina was no more. Do you want me to help you leave? It doesn't hurt at all, he smiled at her in the room, looking straight into her face. Her eyelids fluttered slightly. You're tired of this. Me too. I'll help you. I was told how. Are you here? The attending physician appeared in the doorway of the ward. Hello. I was informed that you had come. I changed the treatment regimen, prescribed new drugs. Do what you think is necessary. Anton did not listen to the doctor and just left the room. The idea of getting rid of his sick wife did not get out of his head. She even became obsessive. Anton was increasingly coming up with and learning new ways to send his wife to the next world and start a new life, without all these hospitals and the past, which ceased to suit him. Paulina opened her eyes and felt a hot, scalding drop slowly rolling down her cheek. She heard everything, every word of her husband, her beloved and dear to her heart, Antosha. She wanted children from this man, she wanted to live with him to a ripe old age. Paulina closed her eyes, her strength left her again. When the nurse came, the patient opened her eyes again and looked at the young girl. She was mechanically doing her job, not paying attention to the woman lying on the bed. Paulina was able to move her fingers when the nurse came close. I'm awake. The girl exclaimed and ran for the doctor. The doctor on duty examined Paulina and smiled gently, looking into her blue eyes. Well done, girl. You're strong, you can handle it. Of course, how could she have known that this very thin, weak woman had gathered the rest of her strength to stay alive? Some secrets and unknown, eventually launched the body. I need to tell your husband the good news, the doctor announced and looked at the nurse. Don't, I beg you. Paulina squeezed out in a low, weak voice and repeated, no. Do you want to gain strength? The doctor nodded understandingly. Okay, let's put it off until tomorrow. Unnecessary emotions are not needed yet. I'm afraid of my husband. No. Pauline shook her head from side to side the next morning, when her strength returned to her. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Don't worry, everything is fine. I'll call the doctor on duty. The doctor, the same new doctor who had been taking the patient to this department for only a few weeks, came in half an hour later. I know. I know everything. And I'm very glad that you woke up on your own. Everything will be fine now. Paulina began to cry again. But you don't need to shed tears. It takes such strength that you can even forget how to breathe. My husband came and said he would take my life. I heard everything. Don't let him come to me, please. And call Pavel Andreevich, let him come immediately. The doctor looked at the nurse, then back at the patient. Give her a sedative. The doctor left, and the young nurse, after giving the injection, looked at Paulina and said, I'll keep an eye on you. Your husband seemed strange to me too. Call Pavel Andreevich, the patient asked quietly again. Paulina fell asleep again, and when she opened her eyes, she felt that someone was in the room. Anton was sitting in front of her, sprawled on a chair. Paulina closed her eyes, as if pretending to be unconscious again. I know you've come to your senses, Anton hissed, bending over his wife. You decided to come back, but you didn't have to. What are you doing here? She must not be disturbed, the young nurse screamed. All questions to the doctor. Get out immediately, or I'll call security. Girls, call the security post. The nurse excitedly rushed out into the corridor. Anton got up and calmly walked to the exit. I'll be back, so either you do it yourself or I'll help you. Anton pointed a finger at his wife. Paulina felt her heart racing and the monitor to which she was connected by sensors beeped. The nurse returned to the room and showed Anton the door. I'm gone, I'm already gone, the man shouted back. God, how scared I was for you. How did he get in? The nurse wailed. Call Pavel Andreevich, I beg you. I don't know who he is. There is no such data in your card. Pauline closed her eyes. How do cell phones save us in emergency situations and, conversely, force us to trust and not remember the numbers of the phones we need? Dial the company Sotnikov and Company in the search engine, she asked the nurse. Pavel Andreevich arrived at Paulina's late in the evening. He was very surprised that she was in the hospital. Anton said that you are in Bali, relaxing and preparing for motherhood. Paulina bit her lip. The nurse wanted to leave, but Paulina asked her to stay. Then I turned to Pavel Andreevich. Revoke the power of attorney for management and draw it up for yourself. My husband planned for me not to leave here anymore. He doesn't want me to live, and he'll do it at the first opportunity. Paulina gathered her strength and continued. Hire me a guard if there is still money in the accounts. Sell a car, a country house or an apartment if you don't have the money. Pavel Andreevich, I can only rely on you, the man nodded. I worked with your father, you grew up before my eyes. Don't worry, I've got it all figured out. I understand everything, Paulina. Get well now. Tomorrow I will prepare everything that may be needed here. The next morning, the man's unfamiliar staff appeared at the hospital. He was dressed in a hospital uniform and tried to act as if he had been working here for a long time. Pavel Andreevich arrived with a power of attorney and other documents that I blocked all accounts and took his car away from him. Anton will be left without a penny. I'll do my best, the man reassured Paulina. Did he give it all away? Paulina was surprised and asked again. Of course I didn't want to. But I convinced him, and I convinced him, the man repeated, as if confirming his words. He's alive, don't worry. But the arrogance was removed from him so that he understood everything. You won't see him again. I have taken all measures. Not for the first time. Your father and I have subdued other scoundrels. Pavel Andreevich kept his word, which he gave. When Paulina was discharged from the hospital, she was recovering at home for a long time. However, she changed her apartment, could not be in the place that she associated with her ex-husband. Of course, she officially divorced Anton. Dear friends, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. And also write comments about this story.